shifting to what you're seeing people need. Because, years ago in 2000, I mean, what a time to be alive, honestly. I'm so grateful that I knew life before social media. But you had to figure out the skills first, because most people today, the younger people that always had social media, there's a lack of skill.
Yeah.
Maybe they're great at editing videos, they're great at content, but then they get on a face-to-face call, and they lack a little bit because there's no skill in communication. There's no skill in sales and how to talk about what you do and how to think every client's not the same, but most of my clients have a similar need. So you were building those before to get where you are now. So I love that. My oldest does not know a world without social media. And so I feel like sometimes, and let me know if you do this, that sometimes, so he's 14, that I am trying to teach him those skills you can't learn on social media, so much so that he's like, God, I know how to talk to people. I know how to order food. Then we get in the restaurant and they're like, what would you like? And he's like, Mom.
Yeah.
So it's like learning these simple skills that there's this lack because they're an online generation. Do you do that?
It is.
Or my kid's just broken?
No, it's true. And my kids, I think one of the things that's helped them is they've all had customer facing jobs, like through high school, like they work.
Yep.
My youngest runs the front desk in a huge like entertainment complex. One was a grocery store, person, and now is a bartender. Like they all like learned, and actually one of them worked at Trader Joe's, and he used to get
Trader Joe's.
they would get measured on customer interaction. So I would be driving him to work
really?
at 16, and he's like, all right, I need some topics to talk about today. And so I'm like, all right, like, there's, this is happening or that's happening in the world. And so he would have like a few things to be able to start talking to people. And it's funny because you see a lot of people online kind of joking about like the conversations they have with the Trader Joe's people, but the Trader Joe's people were actually like, they were measured on that. So that's why it was so like, that's why it happened.
Well, it's so good. That's what, because if they're being measured on it, they have to make sure they're constantly staying up to date and having topics.
Yeah. So here was a
I love that.
16-year-old kid who was being rated on how he was talking to adults. So he learned to.
That's scary. Yeah, that's scary. Have you ever heard of Seven Brew?
Seven Brew? No.
The Seven Brew coffee shop. I'm curious if they've made it up your way yet.
No.
It is a newer franchise, and it's popping up all over Kentucky, Indiana, Nashville area, and it's kind of sweeping the nation. And it's a big thing right now about how the Seven Brew, what the atmosphere is like, the environment, and it's consistent across the board. So it's always really loud. So that's kind of rough. But it's a drive-through coffee shop. You don't go in the storefront, and the music's always really loud. But the people that work there, like the Trader Joe's people, are rated on their customer service. And so sometimes you see people kind of complaining like, oh, it's 7 a.m. and they're like, do you have plans today? And, and they're like, to drink my coffee. That's my plan, But I think that, I don't know. It's really loud and overstimulating in here. But I think that it's so special that, because it's mostly young people that are working, that we're teaching, kind of forcing how to communicate with people. And so when you are working with business owners, are you working with a variety of age ranges, or do you feel like it's mostly this age and above?
I do have a pretty broad age range. I mean, I have a lot of women that are in they're probably like between 40 and 60, but I do have like 30s and I have a 20 something in one of my groups. And
so you see all different kinds of communication styles.
I do. And I have, again, women who are coming out of corporate. I have women who've had other kinds of jobs and different things. So definitely a wide range. I think what they have in common is that they were all really good at the thing that they do, whatever it was. And it's the becoming a business owner and having to be responsible for all the things, kind of like what you said in the very, very beginning. It's like, oh my gosh, I didn't know I was going to have to do all this stuff. And, I think that's the tough spot. But the communication, I mean, that's one of those soft skills, and it's like super important. And especially as a service provider, because for most of us, people, I mean, there are some services that people will just go online and buy, but for a lot of it, like, you have to have a conversation with somebody. And so,
and it matters.
Yeah, it
if you
really does.
Hold it. Yeah, it does. And so I love that you're working with a lot of different age ranges. I did not expect that when I started my businesses. Again, I thought I would attract me. I thought all my business owners that come to me for tax help are going to be exactly like me. So it has also forced me to be able to talk to the general contractor, be able to talk to the plumber, but also the life coach, and and the wedding venue people. And so we're growing. we're growing. I want to go back to the theme because I did get the brain tickle. Why do you think structure equals freedom? But why does it also feel counterintuitive, but also true?
Because people can be, so I tend to work with a lot of creatives. And not just like, I mean, first of all, people that are in traditionally creative industries or creative jobs, like marketing people, interior designers, that kind of thing. But also, I mean, even like corporate people I work with, but they're creative people. And I think a lot of people, especially especially creatives, are resistant to structure because for some reason they think it's going to ruin their creativity, their inspiration. And so they're like, okay, I left this corporate job. I now work for myself. I can do whatever I want, whenever I want. And so I'm going to toss all of the structure out the window because they equate the structure with the corporate thing they want to leave. So now they're there with no structure. So they're working all the hours, all the days, they're making decisions all day long, they're winging it. And that is all just so like overwhelming. And it's like constant, in your head all day long. And so the reason structure brings freedom is that basically it gets rid of all the decision making in the moment. The decision fatigue is a real thing. So if we set standard packages, if we have a proposal template, if we have a system for doing this, if we have a way, and I've got a plan for the week, like all these things, we're kind of like deciding them ahead of time. And so then in the moment, I'm not having to constantly make 1,000 little tiny decisions all day long.
Right.
And, things like I don't have to stress and worry about business development because I know that tomorrow morning I'm going to spend an hour on it, and Thursday morning I'm going to spend an hour on it, and Friday morning I'm going to spend an hour, and there's already a place in my calendar for it. So I don't need to sit here and worry about it and stress about it because there's a place for it. And I don't have to wing it when a new customer comes in because I have this process and I'm going to do this and I'm going to do this and I'm going to do this, and it's already been decided. I don't have to think about it. So that. And then in terms of the time management, if I decide, I'm working these hours, that also is saying I'm not working these other hours. And so, between all of that, that is why structure equals freedom.